The 90s lyrics?
Listen,
No.
listen. You could not tell me that my 10-year-old self could not sing the you know what out of all the man that I need.
Oh,
Yes, fill me up. Yes, he gives me love. Like I was belting that at
this is
10 years old.
nasty too.
No business.
No
Had
bit.
no business.
Don't let me see him in real life though.
Oh, you'd be trash though. But you'd be trash if you met him in real life. Let's
I
not. Let's not. Are we having this conversation about you and celebrities in real life? Because you about to get dragged.
no, we're not gonna talk about me per se and celebrities, but
Dragged,
I'm gonna let that out in the Disney Plus interweb, as you call it.
as I call it, the Disney Plus interwebs. Listen, no, listen. Let's talk about it because I cannot think of another person that infuriates me more than you do
Wow.
when you see a celebrity in real life.
But
Because here's the thing, you always see the biggest celebrities. We're never together. And
no,
the most that I get from you is a weird cryptic text message or a whispered phone call because you're literally like sitting behind them on a plane. And I'm like, Gina, like talk to them. Ask them if you can take a picture. FaceTime me so I can say hi. You're like, no, I don't. Like, we need to go down the list of opportunities missed. I have one that I'm still upset with you about. But let's talk about some of
which
the other ones. I cannot remember. You were on the West Coast flying in or out. I don't remember. And it was the same weekend, either as the Oscars or the Golden Globes.
no, I was on the East Coast.
You were on the East Coast during like a huge award
Everybody was
show.
flying, yeah, I think everybody was flying to the
Everybody was flying to,
yeah,
yeah. So you were on the East Coast in a major airport, and every celebrity on the East Coast was flying to the West Coast for their work. So you were in
yeah, I saw
the club, and who did you see? I can't even remember. You were like naming people that were there.
well, actually, the first person I saw was Hoda from,
Oh,
NBC
yes.
NBC, and literally she walked in and I was just like, "That can't be Hoda. No, that can't be." And
Oh,
she came in with her family and I was just like, "Oh my goodness." And she was like 2 seats away from me, like, in the club. And I was just like, "Oh my goodness." I was startled. So I went up, got a drink, and it was the morning, so it was like orange juice. And I turned around and she was standing right there, and I was just like, "Hi." And she was
oh,
just like, "Well, hello." Because she's like so she's just like she is on TV. And I was just like, "Hi." And
oh
she's
my,
like, "Hello again." And I was like, "Okay, I have to go sit down." But at that point, I sat down, and then I heard this voice, and I looked up, and I was just like, "Who is that man talking to her? Is that Ben Vereen?"
like, okay, no,
And
this
I'm like,
story is over. I'm
at this
finished.
point but wait, I have been on I can't even describe how many, flights and people that I've had the opportunity to see, and as they're walking past me or as I'm standing in line with them, there was one person who I was standing literally, um, we were getting on the plane together, and my husband was just like, "Did you realize that you were standing next to Tasha Cobbs?" And I was just like, "The singer?" I didn't even like, this is me, this is her. I didn't know she was that short, but it was, but I think what's so funny is I just don't, they just look so regular, and
No,
I'm
but no.
um,
Because you will call me on telephone. You will call
mhm.
me on the cell phone in these moments. In the moment. It's not like you call me after the fact.
No, I
You
mean,
will
looking dead
still
at
be in their presence.
Yeah.
You called me. I was actually on the phone when Breen
I was
came
looking dead at her.
into. You were talking to me,
Yeah.
and you said to me, "Oh my goodness, I think that's been Breen." And I was like, "Gina, okay." So everybody in this, air club that y'all chilling, waiting for the plane, they know you're there. Just go and say hi. Like you were breathing their air. I was like, go say hi and then say, listen, my sister, that's how you lead. My
Oh, that's
sister's a huge fan. Can I take a selfie with you just for her, just because she's a huge fan of any person? Usually, and I usually am a huge fan of everybody that you came in contact with.
you are. You are.
And I am like telling you, like, go take a picture, just say if you can. If they say no, that's fine. I want to that's fine. But just step out on the face of as well is all I'm saying. Just step out on faith.
So I'm gonna make you more mad because I was thinking that because of where I was, I should act like I'm used to seeing celebrities. But there were people that were in there that were walking up and just like, "Hey, can we do a selfie?" And I was just like,
Hmm.
"Oh, so maybe I should just, but about that time
And
it's
then they go away.
and they go away. It doesn't
And then
matter.
they go away, and there goes a missed opportunity.
I don't
You met
know
you met Mary Mary of the Mary Marys. Which Mary Mary did you meet?
Erica Campbell. We were on the same
You
flight, and her husband Warren. I
you
talked
met
to
Erica
her.
Campbell.
I talked to
Yes.
her, but it took
Do
me
we have visual proof of that?
no, I didn't. I didn't get her. Yeah,
You didn't.
but the thing about it is, in honestly, I'm pretty cool and chill for
You
the most
are.
part until I see somebody famous.
Yeah, no, that's the part I don't understand. Like
What do you mean?
you're a physician, you're used to coming in contact with strangers all the time. Like you're the first visit, you walk in, it's just like, hello, my name is Dr. Gina, and I am going to help you with whatever problem you have. I was gonna name a specific problem, but I figured
No,
that'd be
no,
too
no,
gross
don't.
the kind of doctor you are.
No.
But but straight, so it's amazing to me that just all you give the person a little bit of like, you know,
No, it's
notability.
different. I'm seeing, um, strangers, but I'm not seeing famous strangers. Like, I don't practice medicine in Beverly Hills or someplace or, downtown New York. I didn't practice in a place where I was gonna see famous people all the time, and I don't know if it would make a difference. It would probably have the same effect, but it's not me. It's not just me. I mean, think about how many times have you seen concerts, like big big name artist, and the people are losing their mind. Michael Jackson concerts,
Okay,
Beyonce concerts, Madonna concerts. People like they walk past and people are just like they go into like full out seizure-like movements.
yes, that is a response.
What?
That's a response. Like they're
Oh,
giving some. I think I would be even acceptable if you would like have that kind of response.
no.
No, you're just like, hi, and
So
like you're escaping from the moment. And
so
I'm
let me
just
say
like,
this. The high the high has evolved because
okay.
because when I was younger, I was that whole, "Oh my goodness, oh my god" when I saw like, I remember the very first celebrity that I remembered seeing. I'm sure
Hmm.
I saw before, but the one I remember seeing, I was in Chicago Airport. I was in college, I think, and I think we were flying with the singers,
Hmm.
maybe medical, I don't know. And I came to baggage claim, and sitting on baggage claim was Biz Markie. I lost my ever-loving mind. I went up to him and I was just like, Biz Markie!" And I'm screaming, and he was like, "Hey, girl!" He screamed with me. It was so much fun. It didn't work that well when I was in Nashville and I was at the grocery store and walked around and I saw this woman and I was just like, "That's Pam from Martin."
Martin, I remember this story.
She actually had to comment because she was just like, "It's okay, girl, you ain't gotta shh," and I was just like, "But you're Pam, you're Pam." And so it's just it now, just so and the sad thing is, I don't even why are we even saying this? This is gonna be on the internet, the interweb. That is not
Because
me normally.
so here's my rule of thumb when it comes to celebrities. Um, Usually, if they make eye contact with you and you kind of, wave and they wave back, or they're at least a little engaging,
Mhm.
that is a window of opportunity. Now, that being said, guys, like, don't be randomly wandering up to, like, whomever and invade their personal space, especially now.
I know,
but
I know, right?
they are human beings, and there's certain celebrities out there that actually don't mind being approached. Because, like, even I was watching a thing where they were talking to Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and he actually goes to gyms when he's like out of town from his actual house, or he's filming something, or he's visiting someplace. He'll go to like a regular gym to go work out. And he doesn't mind for people to walk up and say hi to him, as long as they allow him to do his workout first or whatever, and don't interrupt him
Oh,
in
I
his
was gonna say
workout.
I was about to say,
No, no, no,
well,
no. They can't interrupt him in his workout.
I
But I
was gonna
mean, who's gonna interrupt The Rock
you'd
when
be
he's
surprised.
lifting 1,000 pounds over his head? Like, don't do that.
You wait, see, but that's the thing. People who are really starstruck, they don't think rationally. So, yeah,
Hmm.
I think that they would, look at somebody who's lifting 1,000 pounds and be like, "Well, I'm just gonna take a quick second." See, you don't understand any of this because how you react to celebrities, or should I say, how you don't react.
I don't react.
You don't.
But my not reacting though has gotten me to meet some amazing people. But I think the non-reaction, um, that only works like part of the time. New York, the non-reaction got me in some serious trouble.
The non-reaction almost got me punched in the throat.
It almost got me into a legit fight.
Yeah.
I don't mind. So we both went to Fisk University, Jubilee Singers. I was traveling to Jubilee Singers. We're in New York, and we are at this Fisk Forever. Yes,
Mhm.
we were at this party for this UN something, and a lot of people were there. They didn't tell us ahead of time that people were going to be at this party, and that would happen to us a lot. They would like
People
shove
were
us
already
into
at
a
the
room.
party? Or that
Well,
celebrity was?
famous people,
Oh, okay.
that celebrities are going to be at the party. They would do that a lot to our group. They would kind of like shove us in a room, and then all of a sudden we'd like turn and see somebody, be like, "Wait a minute!" And you realize you're surrounded. This particular party, we're on one side of the room. We look up, and Diane Sawyer was there.
Okay.
From Yeah, she was there. We at one point were on the other side of the room. We saw all this commotion happening on the other side of the room. We met Quincy Jones. He was there. So that was cool. So I
Yeah,
was
that's good.
I was standing next to this guy, and we
The
were listening to this band. And these two little boys run up to this guy, and they're just so engaged with them, and he's engaged with them, and he's really cool with them.
Mhm.
And then he runs away. And then somebody else does the exact same thing. And so
He
in my
he
head, I'm
runs
just like,
away or
okay,
the little boys run away?
the little boys ran away. Like,
Okay.
they were excited, and he signed, and I couldn't really see what he was, the name that he signed.
Mhm.
But after about the third time, and we're standing like almost shoulder to shoulder because
Mhm.
we're standing in front of this band playing. And by the third time, I was just like, okay, this guy, I looked at him, but I didn't really recognize him because I have what is called facial blindness. I don't care if you don't think it's a real thing, but I
It's
can
not a
see
real thing.
somebody that I've seen before and not recognize who they are. I look at him, I don't really recognize him, but I recognize the fact that he's famous. Okay.
Mhm.
That was my first error, that I did not like go to somebody and say, "Who's that? Give me the history so I don't say something stupid." That didn't happen.
Nope.
I think I was 19 when this happened.
You're old
So
enough
I'm
to know
standing
better.
there. I wasn't. Now, that being said, can we pause for a second and talk about the fact that I am not necessarily abreast on the current music situation of whatever decade I'm in.
Yeah,
Like,
but
I'm
why
always
is
two
that?
decades behind.
Why
I
why
don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you even got your children listen to oldies but goodies, like an 8-year-old who's singing Isley Brothers, and I'm just like, I'm confused.
My children are huge fans of Earth, Wind, and Fire.
They are.
Huge fans. Like that's me. I've always been like a decade or two behind what is current. So that helps me in the story. Okay. So I'm standing next to this guy. I turn to him and we're like standing staring at each other. And
Mhm.
I was just like, well, hello. He was like, well, hey, how are you doing? I was like, I'm great. I was like, I feel like I'm supposed to know who you are, is what I said. Now, y'all, in hindsight, that might have come off snarky. I really genuinely meant it though. I was like, you're famous and I'm supposed to know who you are, but I don't. But I didn't say that. It's like I feel like I'm supposed to know who you are.
But it gets
I
worse.
said, I said,
Wait,
what
wait,
is
wait,
your
wait,
name?
wait, wait, wait. Drum roll, go.
No, I said, what is your name? He said, what is your name? I said, well, I'm Danita
Mhm.
because I like, introducing myself. I'm Danita. He was like, it's nice to meet you, Danita. And he said, I'm Wyclef Jean. And I, unfortunately, because I'm not abreast to the current news of music,
But you knew
the
enough
only,
to
I
make
knew
it in
enough.
this era.
The last thing that I understood about Mr. Wyclef was his association with the Fugees. Unfortunately for me, I did not realize that at that moment that we were meeting, they had just freshly broken up.
Yeah.
And it was a painful breakup.
It wasn't
So
cute.
it wasn't. And so I immediately said, oh, the Fugees, just like that. He was not happy. Like he wasn't mean, but the conversation was immediately over. I
He was
was
just
like,
like, yeah.
he
Um,
was not right. Exactly. He had someplace else he instantly had to go. I think after that incident, I was just like, okay, I have to be careful about what I say. And so after that, I was just like, let me just be current and in the moment with whatever celebrity I meet. And so that is what I've done. So I have had these amazing situations. Like I had a whole hour and a half conversation with Cher like that because
that is amazing.
again, you stay in the moment, you stay in the moment. And that is what I do. And but then another thing, you kind of know when you're off limits because like when I was flying out of California, I saw Jay Farrow at a distance. He used to be on Saturday Night Live. He's a comedian.
Oh, I
I
know.
glanced. Yeah, I
Well,
glanced.
I know of him. I say
Yeah,
it
he's
like he's part of family.
amazing, funny guy,
Yeah.
hilarious. I saw him in the line standing for us to all get on the plane. He was able to board first because he was in first class. And as I was walking down the aisle of the plane, I saw him. He was like, he had his head like this. We made eye contact, and then he immediately turned his head and pretended like he was asleep. And I was like, he don't want to sign no autographs today. Jay
Yeah.
Farrow want to go to sleep on the plane. Mind you, it was a red eye, so I get it. Like, he
Yeah.
didn't want to be bothered with nobody. Just leave Mr. Farrow alone, let him go ahead and go to sleep.
So I just kind of want to talk about these extreme reactions that we see.
Which is not true. You don't extremely react.
No, 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 no. I mean, I'm extreme when it compares to a person like yourself that don't recognize
No,
family.
not even me. Like you don't even like I don't react. You take it to a whole other level of
I'm not
non-reaction.
reacting now
Yeah.
as an older adult. Yeah. Not when I saw Biz Marquee.
No, but that was like the best story ever. So yeah.
That's right. But yeah, these people that have straight seizures, convulsions, syncopal episodes, like I feel like there needs to be some sort of clinical assessment, not just to see if they're okay immediately after, but just like, what predisposing factors do they have for them to react that way? I mean, that is just it is opt it's I'm not judging. I'm not
No,
judging.
I think it's just genuine excitement. I mean, we've talked about already about that whole fight or flight and how adrenaline reacts in the body. And I think that even though you're not scared per se, I think adrenaline does the same thing when you're overexcited.
It makes you pass out.
It can, like, your brain's like, you know what, I can't take it. Boom. Like, we're you're like, "I can't do it," and then you're out. I mean, but in a sense, I think the people that do start screaming or they do start immediately crying or they do pass out, it's an adrenaline thing. I mean, especially for people who have like this, you build people up in your head almost to the point where they're not real.
But
I remember the time that I met Cher, and
mhm,
I Cher, she still is like this iconic human being,
mhm,
and seeing her just kind of like walk into the room and be normal, it was a little like it was weird, to
right,
be able to like walk up to her and she's having a normal conversation. I think that's the other thing too, is that a lot of these celebrities sometimes, where they're having these normal conversations with you where they're not who they are. You know what
right.
I mean? Like Cher was talking to me like she wasn't Cher. And as amazing as that was, and amazing as our conversation was, we were backstage waiting for different things and we were delayed, and that's how we were even able to talk that long. And what
Mhm.
was hilarious is, like, during our conversation, people were walking up to her and going, "Do you believe in law?" And then they would just like walk away. They wouldn't introduce themselves. They wouldn't try to meet her. And I think at one point I turned to her and I was just like, "Does that happen a lot?" She was like, "More than you know, yes." She was
Oh,
very annoyed. She hated that, but she was just there was just this humanness about her, and
mm,
to be able to, like, at the very end of the evening, she did sign my we had to have these backstage passes of where we were waiting to perform. She signed that. I still have it, and that was
mhm,
when I was like, I think 20 years old.
mhm,
um she signed it, and that was like the most amazing thing. But it was cool to just be like standing talking to Cher. I think that
mhm.
when you finally come in contact with this person that you think is just like, I know, if I ever had the opportunity to meet Oprah, there's gonna be like this. There's gonna have to be a disconnect up here where I'm just gonna be like, wait, don't screw this up.
Well,
Don't mess this up.
but, I think it's funny, you recognize how famous a person is, like, when folk can just Google your first name,
Listen,
Cher, Oprah,
Barack,
Bang, Beyonce, Gaga,
Beyonce, Bay. You can just Google Beyonce's nickname. That's
BEY.
how famous famous she is.
Super
Bay.
famous, super famous. Madonna, like all those, that's another level. And I can see how people would, because they're on such a great grandstand stage.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
huge. It's huge, and I think I even, they used to televise those Michael Jackson concerts
Oh man.
um on VH1, years ago, when he would be in like all these different, places, and they would have to put that guy. He was in stadiums, like that's how they couldn't put him in a normal place. Like he's in these
No.
30,000 people, and I would watch that. He would just point at a person, and then they would kind of pan to the
You
audience, and
lose it.
and they would lose it and they'd pass out. And what was amazing is one concert I was watching where they were actually lifting people over their heads, the people that had passed out, and they were passing them back to
See,
the nurses station or wherever they had to be seen to make sure they were okay, because there were so many people in the arena, you couldn't get to them to even remove them like that.
were
Like,
they
it's
really? Really though? Were they getting to
yeah.
the station, or were they just getting on the floor in the back? 'Cause I've seen too
Like,
many people
we're gonna
passing
move you
out.
out of the way because you're in the way of the concert.
Yeah, I can't
But
see.
yeah,
So,
I can't see Michael sing his song.
yeah.
But I can't imagine. And you have a person that grows up and they buy the glove, and they listen to all the songs, and they spend their last dime, and they know all of the fan stuff to know, and they know all of this. I mean, essentially the word fan comes from the full word fanatic.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
that's just like, I'm not, like, I don't find you like, oh, this is they don't call us pleasant. Like, oh, I'm a pleasant to
Yes.
Denzel Washington. No, I'm a fan. I'm a fan,
I'm a
you
player.
know, and I think that's where we lose. That's where we kind of, because here's what's funny is that that's what you get when people actually enjoy the person.
I
There's
know.
a completely different response when people don't like. You know, it is. You know, you
Whoa.
have those people that send death threats and throw things at celebrities because they have created this dislike for them.
A
So it's just
person who they don't even know. I think that's the thing
never
I
met
just don't get. Never met them. Never sat down, had coffee with them. Never went to Starbucks. Can I say Starbucks? Can I just
I
shut that?
mean, let's say it enough so that they start sending us free stuff.
I mean, you just that to me is amazing to see the hatred and the trolls on
Yeah.
you haven't even met. All you know is what that person has allowed you to know and what they put out there. You have no idea what goes on behind their closed doors. What just happened? What just happened? Iconic actor
Iconic.
that is no longer with us.
Yes,
Nobody had any idea what was going on behind closed doors in his house for
that's
4 years. And I was really saddened to see there was a post of him earlier this year, I think.
it was
Um,
during the pandemic. I think he got on Instagram to talk about
no,
something.
no, 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 not that one.
Oh.
It was one of him. Yeah, yeah, it was Instagram. There was another one of him walking out of a store.
Mhm.
And people were just like, how are you? Like everybody's overeating during the pandemic. How are you not
Mhm.
eating? Are you getting really ready for a role? Like it looks like uh, King T'Challa needs a meal. I was just like, oh my goodness.
No, it got bad to the point where I
Like,
think they talked about him having to remove certain pictures from his Instagram because I think even he at one point he had done a video about encouraging people to do something
yeah,
uh, during the George Floyd protest, and he had lost a significant amount of weight, and he ended up removing it because it was getting such a visceral response instead
yeah.
of the response that he was looking for. And I think what that taught us. Um, Let me say what I hope that taught us
What hope? Yeah,
what I hope that taught us is that you cannot be a person that um, makes those judgment calls and not know. I
mm,
also think too what's interesting about you bringing that up is I think that's why people had such a an emotional response to his death
we didn't
because
know.
they didn't know. You
Yeah,
know, Chadwick Boseman played this iconic superhero, and
hmm
by all accounts, he was almost like that in real life. They talked about how kind he is, how kind he was, and how gracious he was, and then all of a sudden, you literally are on
literally.
Facebook Friday night, and I remember even with us, my husband was scrolling through Facebook, and he was just like, "Oh, this can't be real." Like that was the very first response that we had. And then we dismissed it because I don't know how many times celebrities have been killed off by the internet and it not been true.
Sinbad.
You
Oh,
had Sinbad several times. Eddie Murphy had been killed off by the internet a few times. So,
yeah,
as soon as you see the death thing, you're just like, oh, whatever,
right,
you know.
right.
And then all of a sudden it just starts popping up everywhere. But I found it interesting that there was such a pure emotional response from people, and I think it's
Yeah,
because we didn't know. He just seemed like genuinely one of the good guys, and you look up to that. They created this superhero on screen and off screen,
hmm
and I think we almost looked at it, at least me, I looked at it like I don't this man was going to chemo and surgeries and going to work every day and not like regular work, you know, like he for
4 years.
4 years and he did like 5 or 6 movies, and for anybody that doesn't know, acting is very taxing on the body, just
Hmm
regular roles. This guy was, doing fight scenes
Yeah.
and all of that and still doing it with such an amazing grace that he literally had an excuse to
He
be
had
like, no, I don't
multiple
want to do it.
excuses, making everybody who has never done what they said they were gonna do feel like a sloth. The
No, yeah, no, you you feel
like,
like you feel
seriously.
terrible.
you know.
So yeah, that happened, and I think even with we had that most recently with Chadwick. I think when Prince died, it was the same thing. It was
Oh,
just I think once
well,
your icon.
we don't even have to leave 2020. I mean, Kobe.
Oh,
Like, it's just
Kobe.
it's yeah, but it's interesting though, like, these celebrities, like, you see them on t and you just kinda, like, pull them into your space as, this person is a part of my family, which I thought it was
Hmm.
interesting. There were some people that were upset, um, and even went as far as saying, Chadwick died alone. He suffered in silence, and to see the clap back, and I'm not laughing at that as much as I'm laughing at the clap back. That was just like, no, 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 no. He had his family and his close friends. He was
Hmm.
living his best life just because you didn't know.
Right, and who are we? I think that is the problem
Right.
with fans, is that we think we are owed that information.
Right. We're known for that
We think
entertainment.
we're owed the time. We think, at the end of the day, when we do see them, we think we're owed the autograph, and we think that we're owed, the moment where we want to sit and talk, and we're owed knowing all of your. And we're not. We're not owed any of that. Like, they're human beings, and just like you wouldn't go randomly telling the mailman your business.
Some people
They don't owe
do.
us nothing. Some
Right.
people do tell them,
Right.
but they don't owe us anything. He owed us nothing, and
Mm,
actually gave to us more than what we should have gotten from him,
absolutely.
from the past 4 years of his life. Like, the last, we got more than what we deserve.
Yeah.
We did not deserve that, and we should be grateful that that is something that we can hang on to. You were walking down the street with your husband in DC.
Yeah.
You were
Silver
walking
Spring,
by Silver Springs, not even
Mar
DC, Silver
Silver
Springs,
Spring, Maryland, which is even more spring.
Maryland.
Yeah.
You all were strolling, maybe hand in hand. I don't
Mm,
know. That's what I imagined. Hand in
yeah.
hand, hand in hand.
Yeah.
You walk by this SUV close enough to graze the mirror almost with your shoulder, and you look to your left.
No, it didn't happen. It happened like that, except I heard somebody screaming and pointing toward the black SUV. And I
Who
looked
was
to
screaming? Just a random person?
somebody who recognized who was in the SUV.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
And you
looked to
look,
my right,
you look to your right.
and the
You were
window
you
rolled
were right in the eyes, window down, chilling. They weren't going anywhere.
down.
You were right there.
And they stopped at a stoplight. And I stood literally, it was just like, Dave Chappelle. That's all I could say. That's all
And
I
he
could
spoke
say.
to you.
Yes,
I'm waiting for you to end up in some sort of comedy special where he
I
talks
am
about the
too.
woman that looked like a.
I completely let go of her husband's hand and just yeah, I'm
And
waiting.
then you didn't take a picture. You didn't
I
ask
couldn't
for a
move. I couldn't
picture.
move.
You didn't do anything. But what
No,
did you do? What did she do,
no.
ladies and gentlemen? You called your sister.
Okay, continue. We're not talking about this. Goodbye.
What
If
is our seed of substance on this lunch hour,
if you or dinner or
or whenever you watch? We know.
whenever you're watching this, I think it's going to be if you know that there is a high chance to see a celebrity
Yes.
and you have a dysfunctional reaction when it comes to celebrities, take a Xanax. That's it.
I think that is not a good.
That's it. That's all I got.
No. Okay. No. Seed of substance. Celebrities are people too.
Okay, that sounds like the most responsible. That's the most responsible thing we should say.
All right. We can get the water now.
Water will be got.
Water will be got.
Bye, girl.
Bad girl. I don't think
Lies.
it's possible. They lied.
Have
Yeah.
you
They
seen
lied.
it?
No, no, no. I haven't
I've
seen it,
seen,
but I've
I've
heard
seen it,
people.
but
I've seen the invites. Let's put it that way.